Hi, I'm Stuart Mann. I've enhanced the standard scheduling, PI planning scheduling spreadsheet that Scaled Agile provides in the PI Planning Toolkit. And it's just a quick video to show how it all works together. So you can start in cell D2, and this is just the date you want to enter for your first PI that you want to track inside the spreadsheet. In this case, it is for the PI1, but we could, of course, change it. Let's just say I'm going to go 19 Jan 2 and set this to be PI2, and you'll see everything else and calculate off that. In the right over here, let's just make that a little bit bigger. Right over here, you'll see the iterations have changed, and dynamically it will change the names of the iterations and so on. So let's go back to what it was. There we go. Okay, so we'll leave it like that to start off with. Other things you can configure here is how long do you want the PI planning event to be. You can see our first one was actually 4 days, but we're planning for 3 days. We're doing dispersed across multiple time zones. And what is the gap from when your PI actually starts to doing the actual PI event? So you can see that there's 3 days after it. So you have 3 days from when your PI planning event finishes before your PI planning event starts. You can see if I set this to 4, it'll then go back one. Over here, you can set how many iterations per PI. Okay, so you can customize that. We'll talk about the values now. How many weeks are there per iteration? Made it a bit bigger, so it's lost that weeks per iteration. And if you want a buffer on the end, so I'll talk about those two fields now. So you can see here, mostly we do 6. In the team that I work in, the train that this is relevant for, but over here there's 5. Why is that? It's actually it's because we get to the detailed plan. Otherwise, we'd be hitting Easter weekend, the holidays around there, and a lot of people would be away for the PI planning event. So we're making it a shorter PI, so we can do our PI planning when everyone is in the office. So the vast majority of the workforce is in the office. In a PI buffer, this allows you to add on a certain number of days. In this case, we've added 5 days on to the first PI. Why is that? In this case, it's just because of where, particularly in places like South Africa, we take long holidays over December, over our summer period in January, and we wanted to make sure everyone was back in the office and we had enough time to prep for the second PI planning event. So that's why we added on 5 days. So if you did add on, if you do that, what it does is it adds it on to the IP iteration. So for whatever reason, if you want to add on, you can do that. And in actual fact, you can do -5, and that will take away 5 days. So if you want to make your IP iteration need to be 1 week long, you could do it that way quite easily as well. Okay, once again, let's leave it like it was. Okay, and that's, yeah, so you can configure pretty much all the dates, and that will then drive out the dates for your PI start and finish, as well as for your iterations within all your PIs. You can also just customize if you don't like the name PI planning. You want to call it something different, you can change the name there. We refer the word sprints to iterations. We can change it here as well. And then, yeah, what do you call it as well? If you do something different to PI, you can change it here, and that'll go and change the heading. So let's just say we're going to call it, let's just say PI for argument's sake over here. And you'll see there some of the headings then go and change. Okay, change to PI. And let's just change iteration to sprint. Okay, change iteration to sprint, and you'll see it'll change the terminology there. Well, I'll leave it as sprint for now. We'll see what happens in the other areas. Now, the next sheet you want to look at is the detailed plan. So you pop over here, and let me just make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so this is just the first date you want to set here, and this is purely the date where you want the reporting range to show. So at the moment it's 1 January 2022, but let's say you wanted to actually set it to be the start date of the tracking of the sheet, which I think was 24 October 21, and this is enter. Oops. And you'll see it just changes the date for the rest of it. Now, what this will then do is it'll show you, remember we changed from iteration to sprint, so it's showing sprints over here. Okay, and let's go through and look. Now you'll see the public holidays are pulling through. So you can notice here for our PI planning 2, okay, this is we're avoiding Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the USA and India Republic Day when we do our PI Let's just go and look at specifically at PI Planning 3. Okay, and you'll see where we scheduled it here. Nice, there's no public holidays. But a week later, there's lots. Okay, so we've got the Easter weekend. We've also got other things happening as well. So a lot of people were away in this week. Definitely don't want to do PI planning over there. So that's why we brought it forward. We made a five iteration PI instead of 6, so we can do our PI planning in the period where most people will actually be in the office. Now, in terms of the holidays, we've got very complex, lots of different geographies. We've got South Africa, we've got the USA, we've got Belarus, we've got India, and we've got the Philippines. We've got lots and lots of public holidays. We also added in the Jewish holidays as well, just to show that. You can add in milestones and events, conferences, shows, things like that as well. Whatever you need, you can go and add them in here. It should work if you do add in anything. It should work without sorting, but I would always recommend just sorting it just to make sure that it will definitely work if it's sorted. Just won't give you any fun areas. Sometimes Excel does that if you don't sort it. There's also the ability to set a date as provisional or not. So obviously things like Eid depends on when the new moon is seen. So there's a provisional date, but it might change. So that's just indicated in orange font. And that'll also then show on the detailed plan. Okay, over here, it'll actually show you dynamically pick that up. Okay, that hang on, this is one over here that could change. Okay, if it's not still a provisional date. And really that's all there is to it. So have fun, play around with it. If you do have any feedback, please do let me know. I have put some help over here, very simple help. And then I'll try to do, let's go back to config, some mouse over help as well for all of the fields, just to explain it in a bit more detail. So yeah, have fun playing around with it. If there are new versions, I will put them onto my blog, which is Running Man, that's man with 2 N's, like my surname, .coza. Great. Thanks for watching.